She was just a delivery girl trying to survive another night shift. Then she found a dying stranger in a wrecked car and gave him her blood without asking his name. What she didn't know, the man she saved was the city's most dangerous mafia boss. And he would never let her go. The rain hit Maya's face like cold needles as she pedaled through the empty streets of Lower Manhattan. 11:47 p.m. 3 more deliveries and she could finally go home. Her phone buzzed against the handlebar mount. Another order. She squinted at the screen, Chinese food, heading uptown. The tip was generous. She'd take it. Last one. Maya muttered to herself, her breath forming small clouds in the October air. Then sleep. Actual sleep. She'd been working double shifts for 3 weeks straight. Rent was due. Her student loans weren't going to pay themselves. And her mother's nursing home bills kept climbing. 23 years old and already exhausted. That was Maya Chen's life in a nutshell. The streets were deserted.
Just how she liked it.
No traffic, no crowds. Just her and the city's skeleton crew of night workers. She took the familiar route up 6th Avenue, her legs burning from 12 hours of constant pedaling. Then she heard it. The screech of tires. Metal crushing metal. Glass exploding. Maya's head snapped toward the sound. 2 blocks ahead, a black luxury sedan had T-boned a delivery truck at the intersection. The sedan's front end was completely crumpled, steam rising from its hood. The truck driver stumbled out, dazed but walking. But the sedan, nobody was getting out of the sedan. Maya's first instinct was to keep pedaling. Not your problem. Call 911 and move on. New York City had taught her that lesson early. But her legs had already stopped moving. Damn it, she whispered, dropping her bike against a lamppost. Her delivery bag bounced against her hip as she ran toward the wreck. The truck driver was on his phone, screaming incoherently. Maya ignored him and approached the sedan. Through the spider-webbed windshield, she could see a man slumped over the steering wheel.
Blood.
So much blood. Hey! Maya yanked on the driver's door.
Locked.
She ran to the passenger side. That door opened with a groan of twisted metal. The man was maybe 40, dark hair, expensive suit soaked crimson. His breathing was shallow, bubbling. But it wasn't the crash that had done this. There was a bullet hole in his left shoulder. Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. This wasn't a car accident. This was something else entirely. Sir, can you hear me? She leaned across the passenger seat, checking his pulse. Weak but present. His eyes fluttered open, dark brown, almost black, filled with pain and something else. Calculation. Even dying, this man was assessing her. Hospital, he managed, blood flecking his lips.
Not.
Police. You need both, Maya said, already dialing 911. His hand shot out, gripping her wrist with surprising strength. No police. Please. There was desperation in his voice that made her pause. Maya had heard plenty of desperate voices in her life. Her father, before he left. Her mother, before the dementia took her memories. She recognized the real thing. You're going to die if I don't get you help, Maya said flatly.
Then.
I die, his grip loosened. Better than. The alternative. Maya stared at him. At the custom-tailored suit. The Rolex on his wrist. The way his other hand instinctively moved toward his hip, where a weapon probably was. Or had been. She made a decision that would change her life forever. Mount Sinai is 2 blocks away, she said. Can you move? The man's eyes widened slightly.
You'll.
Help. I'm already regretting it. Come on. She managed to drag him halfway out of the car before his weight nearly collapsed them both. He was heavy, all muscle under that expensive suit. Maya wedged her shoulder under his arm and half-carried, half-dragged him toward the sidewalk. My bike, she gasped. We'll use my bike. It was insane. Completely insane. But Maya had spent her whole life doing impossible things. One more wouldn't kill her. It took 5 agonizing minutes to get him seated on her bike's rear rack, his arms wrapped loosely around her waist. He was fading fast, his breathing growing more labored. Maya pedaled harder than she'd ever pedaled in her life, ignoring the screaming in her thighs, the rain blinding her, the warm blood seeping through her jacket. The emergency room doors blazed with light ahead. "Stay with me," Maya said, though she wasn't sure if she was talking to him or herself. They crashed through the ER entrance, literally. Maya's bike skidded on the wet floor, and they both went down in a tangle of limbs and metal. Nurses and doctors swarmed immediately. "Gunshot wound," Maya gasped. "Upper left shoulder. He's lost a lot of blood." They loaded him onto a gurney. A doctor barked orders. Someone asked Maya questions she could barely process. Then a nurse grabbed her arm. "What's his blood type?" "I don't. How would I know?" "Ma'am, we're critically low on O negative and he's hemorrhaging. If we don't—" "Test me," Maya interrupted.
I'm O negative.
"I'll donate."
She wasn't supposed to know her blood type.
But she did. Her mother had made sure she memorized it, along with her social security number and emergency contacts, back when her mother still remembered things like that. The nurse's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "Test me."
Now.
20 minutes later, Maya sat in a plastic chair with a needle in her arm, watching her blood flow through clear tubes into a collection bag. Her hand trembled. Adrenaline crash, probably. Or delayed shock. Or the realization that she'd just saved a man who'd begged her not to call the police. What had she done? A doctor approached, pulling off blood-stained gloves. "He's stable. Critical, but stable. You saved his life," he paused. "Both times, actually. Your blood bought us the time we needed. Will he make it?" "Too early to say. But he's got a fighting chance now." The doctor studied her. "The police will want to talk to him. And you. Gunshot wounds are—" "I know," Maya said quietly. "I'll wait." But when the police finally arrived an hour later, the man was listed as John Doe. No ID.
No wallet.
No phone. Nothing. And when they pressed her for details, Maya realized she had nothing to give them. She didn't know his name, didn't know where he came from, didn't know anything except that he'd been dying and she'd helped. The police looked skeptical but let her go with a warning to stay available for follow-up questions. Maya walked out of the hospital at 3:17 a.m., her bike retrieved from the ER entrance, her body aching, her delivery bag still smelling faintly of Chinese food that had gone cold hours ago. She'd lost a whole night's wages. She'd probably get fired for missing those deliveries. And she'd given blood to a stranger who might be a criminal. But he was alive. That had to count for something. Maya pedaled home through the dying rain, unaware that she'd just saved the most dangerous man in New York City and that he would never, ever forget it. Maya's alarm screamed at 6:30 a.m. She'd slept for exactly 2 hours. Her body felt like it had been run over by the same truck from last night. Every muscle ached. The crook of her elbow throbbed where they'd drawn her blood. But Ren didn't care about exhaustion, so Maya dragged herself out of bed and into her delivery uniform. Her phone had 17 missed calls from her supervisor. She'd deal with that later. The next 2 days blurred together in a haze of pedaling, deliveries, and trying not to think about the man she'd saved. Maya checked the news obsessively. Nothing. No reports of a shooting, no mysterious John Doe in critical condition, no police appeals for information. It was like that night had never happened. Maybe that was better. Maybe she could just forget about it and move on. Except she couldn't shake the memory of those dark eyes calculating her worth even while dying. On the third day, Maya noticed the car. Black SUV, tinted windows, parked across from her apartment building. She'd walked past it 3 times before her brain registered that it was always there. Same spot. Same vehicle. Not moving. Probably nothing. Parking was hell in this neighborhood. People left their cars for days. But then she saw it again during her lunch delivery run in Midtown. Different location, same car. Or maybe a different car that looked identical. Maya couldn't be sure. Her hands tightened on the handlebars. Paranoia. That's all this was. Lack of sleep and too much stress. That evening, She returned to her studio apartment to find an envelope taped to her door. No name, no address, just a plain manila envelope sealed shut. Maya's heart kicked into overdrive. She looked up and down the hallway. Empty. She peeled off the envelope and carried it inside, locking her door and wedging a chair under the handle, an old habit from her rougher neighborhood days. Inside the envelope, $500 in crisp 20s. No note.
No explanation.
Just cash. Maya's hands shook as she counted it twice. Definitely $500. More than she made in a week of deliveries. This was wrong. This was very, very wrong. She grabbed her phone to call. Who? The police? And say what? Someone gave me money. They'd laugh her out of the precinct. She stuffed the cash back in the envelope and shoved it in her desk drawer. Maybe someone had made a mistake. Maybe it was meant for another apartment. She'd return it to the building manager tomorrow. But the next morning, there was another envelope. Another $500. What the hell? Maya whispered, staring at the money spread across her kitchen counter. $1,000. Just sitting there. Unexplained. She didn't take it with her to work. She left both envelopes locked in her apartment, as if distance would make them less real. During her afternoon shift, a man in a suit approached her at a red light. Professional, clean-cut, but with the build of someone who knew how to hurt people. Maya Chen, he asked. Every instinct screamed at her to pedal away. Who's asking? A friend wanted me to check on you. Make sure you're doing all right. His smile didn't reach his eyes. You helped someone recently. That someone is very grateful. The man from the hospital.
John Doe.
I don't want anything, Maya said quickly. He was dying. Anyone would have done the same. No, the man said softly. They wouldn't. And that's why you're being looked after now. I don't need looking after. Not your decision. He handed her a business card. Blank except for phone number. You need anything at all, you call that number. Day or night. Then he walked away, disappearing into the crowded sidewalk like smoke. Maya stared at the card, her stomach churning. She should throw it away. Should throw away the money. Should forget any of this ever happened. Instead, she tucked the card into her wallet. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept checking her window, looking for the black SUV. It was there, parked under a broken streetlight, almost invisible in the shadows. They were watching her, protecting her, or making sure she stayed quiet. At 2:47 a.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her thumb hovered over the decline button. But curiosity, that dangerous, stupid curiosity, made her answer. Hello. Silence. Then breathing. Then a voice, deep and accented, rough like gravel wrapped in velvet. You gave me life. Maya's breath caught. She knew that voice, recognized it from the car, from his desperate whisper in the rain. Who is this? But she already knew. Someone who owes you everything. A pause. They tell me you won't accept payment. That troubles me. I didn't do it for money, Maya said, surprised by the steadiness in her voice. I know. That's why you deserve it. Another pause. You're safe now. No one will touch you. Ever. That's my promise. I don't want your promises. I don't want your money. I just want a normal life? The voice carried dark amusement. I'm afraid that's no longer possible. You saved Victor Marino. People will want to know why. People will wonder what you know. So yes, Miss Chun, you do want my protection, whether you realize it or not. The line went dead. Maya sat in her dark apartment, phone clutched in her shaking hand, finally understanding the terrible truth. She hadn't just saved a man's life. She'd bound herself to a devil. The penthouse overlooked Manhattan like a throne over an empire. Floor-to-ceiling windows displayed the city's glittering sprawl. Millions of lights, millions of lives, all of them insignificant from this height. Victor Marino stood at those windows, a glass of whiskey untouched in his hand. His left shoulder was still bandaged beneath his silk shirt, the wound healing slower than his patience. but he was alive. Against all odds, against his enemies' careful planning, he was alive. Behind him, his lieutenant, Dmitry Volkov, waited in respectful silence. Dmitry had served the Marino family for 20 years, first Victor's father, now Victor himself. He was loyal, efficient, and currently confused. "You've been staring at that file for 3 days," Dmitry finally said. "It's a delivery girl. Nobody important." Victor turned, his dark eyes cold. "She saved my life. She was convenient. Wrong place, right blood type. Luck." "No," Victor set down his whiskey and picked up the folder again. Maya Chen's entire life, documented in 40 pages. Born in Queens, father disappeared when she was 8, mother in a nursing home with advanced dementia. Student loans from a degree she never finished. 3 jobs in the past year, currently working for Fast Bite Delivery. Rent 2 months overdue before his money arrived. She chose to help. That's not luck. That's character. Dmitry shifted uncomfortably. "Boss, the Kozlov syndicate thinks you're dead. That's good for us. We can move against them while their guard is down. But if they find out about the girl..." "They won't. They have eyes everywhere. Someone saw the crash. The hospital had cameras. If they connect her to you, then we eliminate the threat before it reaches her." Victor's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. "Is that clear?" Dmitry nodded slowly. "Crystal."
Good.
"Now tell me about Anton." The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Anton Yurev, Victor's head of security, his most trusted enforcer. The man who'd been in charge of route planning the night of the ambush. "He claims it was random," Dmitry said carefully. "Wrong place, wrong time. Says the Kozlovs got lucky." "The Kozlovs don't get lucky. They get information." Victor turned back to the windows. "Someone told them which route I'd take. Someone knew I'd be alone. Knew exactly when to strike." "You think, Anton?" "I don't know what to think. That's the problem." Victor's reflection in the glass was a ghost, pale and sharp. 20 years he's worked for us. 20 years of loyalty. But everyone has a price, Dmitry. Even you. Even me. Not the girl, apparently. Victor smiled, though there was no warmth in it.
No.
Not her. She didn't even ask my name. He'd been conscious enough to remember that part. The way she'd argued with him, told him he was being stupid, saved him anyway without asking questions or demanding payment. In Victor's world, such actions didn't exist. Everyone wanted something. Everyone had an angle. Except Maya Chern, apparently. "What are your orders?" Dmitry asked. Victor was quiet for a long moment, thinking. His enemies believed him dead, a valuable advantage. But advantages were temporary. Eventually someone would talk. Someone always talked. And when the Kozlovs learned he'd survived, they'd retrace his steps. They'd find the hospital records. They'd find her. Unless he moved first. Pull 4 men from the warehouse detail. Put them on rotating surveillance around her building. I want eyes on her 24/7 That's excessive for her. "I don't care." Victor's tone left no room for argument. "Fix her bike, it's falling apart. Pay her building's super to upgrade her apartment lock. Make sure her mother's nursing home bills are covered for the next 6 months. And for God's sake, stop leaving cash on her doorstep like she's a charity case." Dmitry blinked. "Boss, with respect, this girl is a complication we don't need. The smart play is to distance yourself, maybe relocate her somewhere safe and forget. No one touches her. Ever." Victor turned to face his lieutenant fully, and even Dmitry, who'd seen Victor kill men with his bare hands, took an involuntary step back. "She gave me her blood, Dmitry. Do you understand what that means? In the old country, that creates a bond. A debt that must be repaid. We're not in the old country. The rules don't change just because we crossed an ocean." Victor picked up Maya's photograph from the file. Young, tired, defiant eyes staring at the camera in what looked like a DMV photo. She could have kept walking. Could have called the police. Could have let me bleed out in that car. Instead, she risked everything. Her safety, her time, her own blood, for a stranger. He set the photo down gently. In a world of wolves, Dimitri, I found a lamb who doesn't know she's surrounded by teeth. And I will not let anyone devour her because of what she did for me. Dimitri nodded slowly. Understood. I'll handle it personally. And Anton? I'll watch him. If he's dirty, he'll slip eventually. When he does, bring him to me alive. I want to look in his eyes when he explains why he tried to kill me. Victor's smile was a blade. Then I'll show him what happens to traitors. Dimitri left to execute his orders. Victor remained at the windows, watching the city that both feared and obeyed him. Somewhere down there, a girl pedaled through streets she thought were random, delivering food to people she'd never meet again, completely unaware that the devil himself had claimed her as his. Maya's bike had been stolen 4 times in the past year. She'd learned to live with the dents, the squeaky brakes, the chain that slipped every 3rd block. It was unreliable, but it was hers. So when she came downstairs one morning to find her bike gleaming like new, fresh paint, new tires, chain oiled and silent, she knew something was very wrong. "Excuse me, miss." Maya spun around. A man in a black jacket stood near the building entrance, arms crossed casually. Professional. Alert. Definitely not a resident. "Who are you?" Maya demanded. "Building security," he said smoothly. "Management hired us. There've been some break-ins in the neighborhood." "We don't have building security. Mrs. Park can barely afford to fix the heating." The man's expression didn't change. "We're contracted. Privately funded. You don't need to worry about it." Maya's grip tightened on her bike handles. "And my bike? Did management fix that too?" "Safety concern. Can't have you breaking down in dangerous areas." This was insane. This was. "Victor Marino sent you," Maya said flatly. The man's professional mask slipped for just a second. Surprise flickered across his face before the neutral expression returned. "I don't know what you're talking about."
Right.
"Sure." Maya swung her leg over her bike. "Tell your boss I don't need babysitters." She pedaled away before he could respond, anger burning in her chest. Who did Victor think he was? She'd saved his life, and now he thought he owned her? Thought he could just insert himself into her world, fix her things, watch her building. But over the next week, Maya couldn't deny that her life had gotten easier. Her landlady, Mrs. Park, mysteriously stopped hounding her about rent. "Don't worry about it, dear," the old woman said with a strange, nervous smile. "Just don't worry about it." The broken lock on her apartment door was replaced with a high-end security system she definitely hadn't requested. Her mother's nursing home called to inform her that an anonymous benefactor had paid her account in full for the next 6 months. And everywhere Maya went, she saw them. Men in dark clothing, always watching, always at a distance. In coffee shops. On street corners. Outside her delivery stops. They never approached, never spoke, but they were always there. One night, after a particularly exhausting shift, Maya found a bag of groceries outside her door. Good stuff, fresh vegetables, quality meat, the expensive bread she couldn't usually afford. No note.
No explanation.
She wanted to throw it away on principle. Instead, she made herself dinner for the first time in weeks and hated how good it tasted. "This is ridiculous," Maya muttered to herself. "This can't keep happening." 2 days later, she confronted one of the watchers. Young guy, maybe 30, trying to blend in at a bus stop where he clearly wasn't waiting for a bus. "Your boss owes me a debt, right?" Maya planted herself in front of him. "Then the debt is paid. Tell him we're even. Tell him to leave me alone." The man studied her with something like respect. "Doesn't work that way." "Why not?" "Because you gave him something he can never repay. So he'll spend the rest of his life trying." The man's voice was matter-of-fact. "Our boss takes his debts seriously. Especially blood debts. I don't want his money. I don't want his protection. I just want my normal life back." "With respect, miss, your normal life wasn't that great to begin with." Maya's face flushed. "That's not, you don't know. I know you work 16-hour days and still can't pay your bills. I know your mother doesn't recognize you anymore when you visit. I know you eat ramen 6 days a week. His expression softened slightly. Our boss is giving you a better life. Why fight it? Because it came from blood money. Because accepting help from a criminal made her complicit. Because once she started depending on Victor Marino's generosity, she'd never be free of him. But Maya couldn't say any of that. Not to this man, who genuinely seemed to think he was helping. Who's your boss? She asked instead. Your actual boss, not Victor. Who do you report to directly? Dmitry Volkov, head of security operations. I want to meet him. The man hesitated. That's not a good idea. I don't care. Set it up, or I go to the police. It was an empty threat, and they both knew it. But something in Maya's eyes must have convinced him, because he pulled out his phone and made a call. 3 hours later, Maya sat in a 24-hour diner in Hell's Kitchen, nursing cold coffee and wondering if she'd made a terrible mistake. The door opened. A man entered, older, maybe 50, built like a boxer, with cold gray eyes that assessed everything in the room before landing on her. Dmitry Volkov sat across from her without asking permission. You wanted to meet, he said. His accent was thicker than Victor's. Russian, definitely. So talk. Maya forced herself to meet his gaze. Call off your dogs. No. I didn't ask for any of this. You saved our boss's life. That makes you family, whether you want it or not. Dmitry leaned back, studying her. You think we're the problem, but we're not. We're the solution to a problem you don't even know exists yet. What problem? Victor Marino has enemies. Dangerous enemies. When they find out a delivery girl saved him, and they will find out, those enemies become your enemies. Dmitry's expression was granite. So yes, we watch you. We protect you. Because if something happens to you, our boss will burn this city to the ground finding out who did it. And nobody wants that. Maya's hands trembled around her coffee cup. I just wanted to help someone. You did. Now live with the consequences. Dmitry stood, dropping cash on the table. The men stay. The protection stays. Your mother's bills stay paid. This isn't negotiable. He was halfway to the door when Maya called out. Does he know? Does Victor know I'm trying to refuse? Dmitry turned back, and for the first time, something almost like sympathy crossed his face. He knows. That's why he respects you. Then he was gone, leaving Maya alone with the terrifying realization that she'd become important to the most dangerous man in New York, and there was absolutely nothing she could do about it. Maya didn't expect Victor Marino to show up at her door dressed like a normal person. But there he was, standing in her apartment hallway at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, wearing jeans and a plain black sweater, looking almost ordinary. Almost. Nothing could hide the predatory intelligence in those dark eyes or the way he carried himself, like violence was always one decision away. You're him, Maya breathed, one hand still on her door, ready to slam it shut. May I come in? His voice was quieter than on the phone. Controlled. I promise, I'm not here to threaten you. Just to buy me, apparently. Victor's expression tightened. I'm here to explain. 5 minutes. Then I'll leave if you want. Every instinct told Maya to refuse. But curiosity, that same dangerous curiosity that made her stop for a car crash, won again. She stepped back, letting him enter. Her studio apartment looked even smaller with him in it. Victor's gaze swept across the space, the unmade futon, the stack of unpaid bills on the counter, the single photograph of her mother on the windowsill. He didn't comment, but Maya saw the calculation in his eyes, seeing how she lived, understanding exactly how desperate her situation had been. Nice place, he lied. Cut the crap. Why are you here? Victor turned to face her fully, and Maya noticed he moved carefully, favoring his left side. Still healing. She'd given him blood 3 weeks ago, and he was already walking around like nothing happened. I saw you on the news this morning, Victor said. The traffic report. You were in the background, making a delivery in Times Square. Maya's stomach dropped. So my enemies watch the news too. They're looking for anything unusual around the time I disappeared. A delivery girl who suddenly has security following her? That's unusual. He stepped closer, and Maya forced herself not to back away. You were safe as long as you stayed invisible. But visibility is dangerous in my world. Then tell your people to stop following me around. I can't for the first time. Victor's control cracked slightly. Frustration bled through. Don't you understand? Someone tried to kill me. Someone who knew my route, knew my schedule, knew I'd be alone. That person is still out there, still looking for loose ends. And you, Maya Chen, are the loosest end of all. I don't know anything. I didn't even know your name until you told me. Doesn't matter. They'll assume you do. They'll come for you just to be sure. Victor's voice dropped. I've seen what these people do to witnesses. I won't let that happen to you. Maya's anger warred with fear. You're saying I'm in danger because I saved your life? That's insane. Welcome to my world. She wanted to scream, wanted to throw him out, wanted to rewind 3 weeks and keep pedaling past that crash.
But none of that would change reality.
Who are you? Maya demanded. I mean, really? I've seen your name online.
Victor Marino.
They say you're connected to organized crime, money laundering, extortion, maybe worse. They say a lot of things. Are they true? Victor was quiet for a long moment.
Yes.
Most of them. His honesty caught her off guard. Maya had expected denials, excuses, justifications. Not this blunt admission. Then why would I trust you? She asked. Because I haven't lied to you. Not once. Victor moved to her window, looking out at the street below, where his men were undoubtedly watching. 3 weeks ago, I was bleeding out in a car, and a stranger stopped to help. She didn't check my pockets for cash. Didn't ask for a reward. She just helped. Do you know how rare that is? Common decency shouldn't be rare. But it is. In my world, everything has a price. Everyone wants something. Loyalty is purchased, trust is a weakness, and kindness, he turned back to her. Kindness gets you killed. Yet you showed me kindness anyway. You gave me your blood, without knowing if I deserved it. Maybe you didn't deserve it. I definitely didn't deserve it, Victor agreed, something dark crossing his face. I've done terrible things, Maya. Things that would make you sick if you knew. I'm not a good man. But I am a man who pays his debts. I know what you want. A normal life. Bills you can pay. Time with your mother before she forgets you completely. Freedom from watching every penny. Victor's gaze was intense, pinning her in place. I can give you all of that. Not as payment. You can't pay for what you did. But as respect. You saved my life without asking who I was. That's why I respect you. Maya's throat tightened. Respect isn't protection. Respect isn't men watching my building and paying my rent.
No.
But it's why I'm here in person, explaining instead of just doing. Victor pulled out a card, different from the one his man had given her. Heavier stock, embossed lettering. My private number. You call that, you get me directly. Not Dimitri, not my men. Me. Why would I need that? Because sooner or later, you'll have questions. Or problems. Or you'll just want to yell at someone for ruining your life. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. I can handle all three. Maya took the card slowly, feeling its weight. And if I still say no? If I still want you to leave me alone? Then I'll respect that too. But the protection stays. Whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you like it or not, you're under my protection now. That's not negotiable. Victor moved toward the door, then paused. You gave me a second life, Maya. The least I can do is make sure you get to keep living yours. He left as quietly as he'd arrived, and Maya stood in her small apartment, holding a crime lord's business card, finally understanding the terrible truth. Victor Marino wasn't trying to control her. He was trying to save her from the consequences of saving him. And somehow, that was so much worse. The warehouse on the Brooklyn waterfront smelled like salt, oil, and old blood. Victor stood at the head of a long table, his inner circle gathered around him like wolves circling a wounded king. Anton Yurev sat to his immediate right, where he'd sat for 15 years. Loyal, efficient, deadly. Victor's personal enforcer, the man who'd trained him to fight, who'd saved his life in Chicago, who'd sworn a blood oath to the Marino family. The man Victor now suspected of trying to kill him. The Kozlovs are getting bold, Dmitri was saying, spreading photographs across the table. They hit 3 of our shipments this week. They're testing us, seeing if the rumors of your death are true. Let them test, Victor said calmly. When I'm ready, we'll remind them what happens when you come for a Marino. When will you be ready, boss? This from Sergei, his youngest captain. Hungry, ambitious, still proving himself. Every day we wait. We look weak. We look patient. There's a difference. Victor's gaze swept the room. They think I'm dead. That gives us advantage. We use it. Anton leaned forward. We should strike now. Hit them where it hurts, their drug operations in Queens. Send a message that you're alive and they're finished. It was good advice. Tactically sound. Exactly what Anton would normally suggest. Which made Victor suspicious. No, Victor said. We wait. Anton's jaw tightened. Boss, with respect, waiting makes us look afraid. Your father never. My father is dead, Victor's voice cut like a blade. Killed by men who got too close because someone told them where to find him. I won't make the same mistake. The room went silent. Everyone knew the story. Victor's father, Alessio Marino, ambushed in his own home 5 years ago. The betrayal that started this whole war. The reason Victor trusted almost no one. You think there's still a rat? Sergei asked carefully. I know there is. Victor's eyes found Anton's. Someone knew my route that night. Someone knew I'd be alone. Knew the exact window of vulnerability. That information came from inside this room. Anton's face remained neutral, but Victor saw the tension in his shoulders. You think it's one of us? I think someone made a deal. Someone who decided the Kozlov money was worth more than our family's blood. Victor stood slowly, his presence dominating the room. And when I find out who, I'll make them beg for the mercy of a quick death. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Dmitri cleared his throat. There's another complication. The girl. Victor's expression darkened. What about her? Words getting out. Low-level Kozlov soldiers are asking questions about a delivery girl seen near the hospital the night you disappeared. They're connecting dots. Then disconnect them. Victor's tone was ice. Permanently. Boss, Anton said, and Victor heard the calculation in his voice. The smart play is to eliminate the girl. She's a liability. The Kozlovs get to her. They'll use her against you. But if she disappears now, the trail goes cold. The room held its breath. Victor turned slowly to face his oldest friend, his most trusted enforcer, and saw the test for what it was. Anton was probing, trying to understand how much Victor cared about Maya Chen, trying to find the weakness he could exploit. Say that again, Victor said quietly. Anton met his gaze steadily. You know I'm right. One girl's life against the safety of the entire organization? It's not even a choice. You're absolutely right, Victor agreed. It's not a choice. The girl lives. Anyone who touches her dies. Those are my orders. That's not strategic. I don't care. Victor's voice rose for the first time, raw emotion cracking through his control. She gave me her blood, Anton. She saved my life when she had every reason to let me die. That creates a bond, a debt that supersedes strategy. Debts can be paid in cash, Anton pressed. Send her away. Set her up somewhere safe. But keeping her here, under our protection, paints a target on her back and ours. The target's already there. Now we deal with it. Anton leaned back, something unreadable in his eyes. You're willing to risk everything, our operations, our men, our war with the Kozlovs, for a girl you don't even know? Yes, Victor said it without hesitation. Because if we become the kind of organization that murders innocent civilians to protect ourselves, we're no better than the animals we're fighting. Maya Chen is off limits. That's final. Then you've gone soft, Anton said, and there was an edge to his voice now. Steel beneath velvet. Your father would never. Victor moved faster than anyone expected. One moment he was standing at the head of the table. The next, his hand was around Anton's throat, slamming him against the wall with enough force to crack plaster. My father is dead because someone he trusted betrayed him, Victor hissed. Don't make me wonder if history is repeating itself. Anton didn't struggle, didn't fight back. Just stared at Victor with those cold, measuring eyes. After a long moment, Victor released him and stepped back. Meeting's over. Everyone out except Dmitri. The room cleared quickly. Anton was the last to leave, straightening his collar, his expression unreadable. When they were alone, Dmitri spoke carefully. You're sure about this? Protecting the girl could split our ranks. Then our ranks are weaker than I thought. Victor poured himself vodka, his hand steady despite the adrenaline still flooding his system. Anton's testing me, pushing to see how far I'll go. Maybe he's just being practical. Or maybe he's the rat. Victor downed the vodka in one swallow. Double his surveillance. I want to know everyone he talks to, everywhere he goes. And Dmitri? Yes, boss. Triple Maya's security. If Anton's dirty, he'll try to prove I'm compromised by going after her. I want her protected, like she's my own blood. Because, in a way, Victor thought she was. She'd given him life. And in his world, that meant he'd give everything, including his empire, to keep her safe. Even if it destroyed him. The delivery order seemed normal at first. Chinese food, apartment 4B in Williamsburg, generous tip. Maya had done 100 deliveries just like it. She should have noticed the address didn't match any building on the block. Maya realized her mistake when she arrived at the location, an empty lot between a closed laundromat and a pawn shop. No apartment building. No 4B. Just cracked asphalt and graffitied walls. Her instincts screamed danger. She was reaching for her phone when the van pulled up, blocking her exit. 3 men stepped out, moving with coordinated precision. Not random thugs. Professionals. Maya-chan. The one in front smiled. We've been looking for you. Maya dropped her delivery bag and ran. She'd grown up in rough neighborhoods. Knew how to sprint through alleys, vault over chain-link fences, navigate the urban maze. But these men were trained, and they were faster. A hand grabbed her jacket. Maya spun, slamming her elbow into someone's face. Felt bone crunch. The man cursed in Russian, and terror spiked through her chest. Russian. These weren't random criminals. These were Kozlov men. She broke free and kept running, her lungs burning. Behind her, she heard footsteps, shouts, the squeal of tires. They were hurting her, boxing her in. She turned down an alley dead end. Turned back, blocked. A black sedan screeched around the corner, cutting off her escape. This was it. This was how she died. Because she'd saved a stranger's life 3 weeks ago. The sedan's back door flew open. Get in. A familiar voice, one of Victor's men, the one she'd confronted at the bus stop.
Now.
Maya didn't hesitate. She dove into the car. The door slammed shut and the driver floored it, tires screaming as they shot forward. Behind them, the Kozlov van gave chase. Stay down, the man barked, pulling out a gun. Maya pressed herself to the floor, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst. Gunshots cracked through the air. The rear window exploded, glass raining down. The car swerved violently, throwing her against the seat. How many? The driver yelled. 2 vehicles. 4, maybe 5 shooters. The man returned fire through the broken window. Call Dmitri. Tell him we're compromised. They rocketed through Brooklyn streets, weaving between traffic, running red lights. Maya caught glimpses through the window, pedestrians diving for cover, other cars slamming on brakes, chaos spreading in their wake. Another gunshot. The car lurched as a tire blew out. Hold on. The driver executed a controlled spin into a narrow side street, momentarily losing their pursuers. He didn't slow down. They crashed through someone's chain-link fence, bounced across a basketball court, and emerged onto another street entirely. For a moment, Maya thought they'd escaped. Then the van appeared again, ramming them from the side. Metal crunched. Maya screamed as they went up on two wheels, teetering at the edge of rolling. The driver fought the wheel, somehow keeping them upright. Warehouse District, the driver gasped. 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. But they didn't have 2 minutes. The van rammed them again, harder this time. Maya's head cracked against the door frame. Stars exploded across her vision. Blood. She was bleeding, warm liquid running down her face. Victor's man was still shooting, trying to take out the van's driver. "Boss is gonna kill us if anything happens to her," he muttered. "Boss is gonna kill us anyway," the driver shot back. They careened around another corner. Maya saw the warehouse ahead, a massive concrete structure surrounded by more black SUVs. Victor's territory. Safety. The van saw it too. They accelerated, trying to cut them off before they reached protection. They weren't going to make it. The van pulled alongside, a man leaning out with a pistol aimed directly at Maya through the broken window. She saw his finger tighten on the trigger, saw her death in his eyes. Then the man's head snapped back, a red mist exploding where his face had been. More gunshots, but not from Victor's men in the car. From the warehouse. Snipers on the roof, providing cover fire. The van swerved wildly, losing control. It clipped a parked car and flipped, rolling 3 times before coming to rest upside down. Victor's sedan skidded to a stop inside the warehouse compound. Hands grabbed Maya, pulling her from the car. She stumbled, her legs barely working, her vision swimming with shock and adrenaline. "You're okay," someone was saying. "You're safe now." But Maya didn't feel safe. She felt like a bomb had gone off in her life, obliterating everything normal, everything predictable. Dmitri appeared, his face grim. "Get her inside. Medical team, now." "I'm fine," Maya managed, though blood still dripped from her forehead. "You're not fine. You were almost killed." Dmitri's voice was harsh but not unkind. "This is what I warned you about. This is what happens when you get involved with our world." "I didn't ask to get involved." Maya's voice broke. "I just wanted to help someone, and now people are trying to kill me." "I know," Dmitri's expression softened slightly. "And I'm sorry. Truly. But it's done now. You can't unknow what you know. You can't unsave Victor's life." Maya's legs finally gave out. She sank to the cold concrete floor, trembling uncontrollably. "I want this to stop. I want my life back." "That's not possible anymore." "Then what am I supposed to do?" Dmitri crouched beside her. "You survive. You let us protect you. And you accept that normal is never coming back." Behind him, the warehouse doors opened again. Victor strode in, his face a mask of cold fury. When he saw Maya on the floor, bleeding and shaking, something in his expression cracked. He knelt beside her, gently tilting her chin up to examine her wound. His touch was surprisingly careful. "Who did this?" Victor's voice was quiet, deadly quiet. "Kozlov's," Dmitri reported. "They lured her with a fake delivery order. Ambush." How did they know where she'd be? The question hung in the air, heavy with implication. Only Victor's inner circle knew Maya's delivery routes. Only someone with access to their surveillance could have planned this so precisely. Victor's jaw tightened. "Anton, we don't know that for certain." "I know," Victor stood, and Maya saw the monster beneath the man. Saw the killer who'd built an empire on fear. "Bring Maya to my estate. Maximum security. No one in or out without my personal approval. Boss, she'll be safer if we spread her across." "She stays with me." Victor's tone left no room for argument. "I should have done this from the start. No more half measures. No more assuming my people are loyal." He looked down at Maya, and his expression softened marginally.
"I'm sorry."
"I should have protected you better. That ends now." Maya wanted to argue, wanted to refuse, wanted to tell him she'd rather take her chances alone than live in a crime lord's fortress. But as she looked at the blood on her hands, at the shattered car behind her, at the burning wreckage of her normal life, Maya realized she had no choice left. She was in Victor Marino's world now, whether she wanted to be or not. Victor's estate sat on 5 acres in Westchester, hidden behind high walls and dense trees. To the outside world, it looked like any other mansion owned by New York's elite. Inside, it was a fortress. Maya sat in the passenger seat of Victor's armored SUV, watching the iron gates close behind them with a finality that made her chest tight. Armed guards patrolled the perimeter. Security cameras tracked their every movement. This wasn't a home. This was a prison disguised as luxury. "The guest wing is prepared for you," Victor said, his first words since they'd left Brooklyn. "Doctor will check your head wound. You'll have everything you need." Maya touched the bandage on her forehead. "Accept my freedom. Freedom is overrated when you're dead." The car stopped in front of a massive colonial mansion, all white columns and elegant windows. It looked like something from a movie. Maya had never felt more out of place in her life. Inside was worse. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, artwork that probably cost more than her entire year's salary. A housekeeper appeared, an older woman with kind eyes who introduced herself as Mrs. Petrov and led Maya upstairs while Victor disappeared into what she assumed was his office. The guest room was larger than her entire apartment. King-sized bed with silk sheets. Private bathroom with a tub that could fit 3 people. A walk-in closet already stocked with clothes in her size, which was both thoughtful and deeply creepy. "Mr. Marino asked me to prepare these for you," Mrs. Petrov explained, noticing Maya's stare. "He wanted you to be comfortable. He knows my clothing size. He knows everything, dear." "It's his nature." Mrs. Petrov's smile was sympathetic. "Dinner is at 7. You're welcome to join him, or I can bring something to your room." Maya wanted to hide in her room, wanted to pretend this wasn't happening. But hiding wouldn't change anything. "I'll come down," she said. The doctor arrived shortly after. A nervous man who examined her wound with shaking hands, declared it minor, and left as quickly as possible. Maya suspected he was terrified of Victor, and that probably wasn't without reason. She showered, washing away the blood and fear, trying to scrub off the memory of those men chasing her, guns firing, her life hanging by threads. But the water couldn't wash away reality. At 7, Maya made her way downstairs, following voices to a formal dining room. Victor sat at the head of a long table, reviewing documents with Dmitri. Both men looked up when she entered. "You came," Victor said, seeming genuinely surprised. "You're keeping me prisoner. Might as well enjoy the amenities." Victor's lips twitched. Almost a smile. "You're not a prisoner. You're a guest under protection." Semantics.
Seat.
"Please," he gestured to the chair beside him, not at the far end of the table like she expected, but close. Within conversation distance. Dmitri gathered his papers. "I'll leave you to dinner." "Stay," Victor said. Maya should understand the situation fully. So they ate, some elaborate meal Maya barely tasted, while Dmitri explained the reality of her new life. The Kozlovs knew she'd saved Victor. They tried to grab her for interrogation or leverage. The ambush wouldn't be the last attempt. "We're hunting the leak," Dmitri said. "Once we identify who gave them information, the threat decreases significantly." "You think it's Anton," Maya said, surprising them both. Victor's eyes narrowed. "What makes you say that?" "I pay attention. I saw how he looked at you during." She stopped.
"Wait.
"How do I know about Anton? I've never met him." "Your protection detail reports everything," Victor admitted, "including conversations you overhear when my men think you're not listening." Maya's fork clattered to her plate. "You're spying on me? I'm protecting you. There's a difference." "No, there really isn't." For the first time, Victor looked uncomfortable. "You're right. I apologize." Old habits. The apology caught Maya off guard. She'd expected deflection, justification, anything but actual remorse. "Why am I really here?" Maya asked quietly. Not the protection speech. The real reason. Victor was silent for a long moment, studying his wine glass. "Because everyone I trust is suspect. Everyone in my organization could be the traitor." But you. He looked up, meeting her eyes. You have no reason to betray me. No connections to my enemies. You're the only person in my life I know is safe. The vulnerability in his voice was startling. This was the man who'd built an empire on fear, and he sounded lonely.
That's sad, Maya said.
That you trust a stranger more than your own people. It's survival. After dinner, Victor offered to show her the grounds. Maya almost refused, but the walls of the mansion felt like they were closing in. She needed air, even if it meant walking with a criminal. The gardens were beautiful. Manicured lawns, rose bushes, a fountain that probably belonged in a museum. They walked in silence until they reached a chess table under a gazebo. Do you play? Victor asked. My dad taught me. Before he left. Victor sat, gesturing for her to join him. One game. If you win, I'll answer any question honestly. And if you win, you give this place a chance. Stop treating it like a prison. Maya considered.
Deal.
They played as the sun set, and Maya was surprised to find Victor wasn't just good. He was exceptional. But she'd learned from her father, who'd played in tournaments before alcohol destroyed him. She knew tricks Victor's formal training hadn't covered. 15 moves in, Maya saw her opening. A gambit that would sacrifice her bishop but expose his king. You're better than I expected, Victor murmured, studying the board. People underestimate delivery girls. I won't make that mistake, he moved his knight. Tell me about your father. Maya moved her rook. Why? Because I want to know you. You're not just the girl who saved my life anymore. You're here, in my home, part of my world whether either of us planned it. I should know who you are. It was manipulative. A strategy to make her comfortable, to lower her guard. Maya knew this. But she told him anyway. About her father's disappearance. Her mother's slow fade into dementia. The crushing weight of trying to hold everything together alone. And Victor listened. Really listened, asking questions that showed he actually cared about the answers. Check, Maya said softly, moving her queen. Victor stared at the board. I didn't see that coming. Most people don't. He smiled, a real smile this time, not the cold mask he wore like armor. Checkmate in 3 moves. Well played, Maya Chen. I win. So, answer my question. Ask. Maya met his eyes. Are you a good man trying to survive a bad world, or a bad man who occasionally does good things? Victor's smile faded. He stood, walking to the gazebo's edge, looking out at his fortress of a home. I don't know anymore, he said finally. But since you came into my life, I've started hoping I could be the first one. That has to count for something. It was the most honest thing anyone had said to Maya in years. And somehow, that scared her more than the guns, the chase, or the danger. Because it meant Victor Marino wasn't just a monster. He was human. And humans could break your heart. Maya had been at the estate for 5 days when she accidentally discovered the truth about Anton. She couldn't sleep. Nightmares of car chases and gunfire kept jolting her awake, so she'd wander downstairs around midnight, looking for the kitchen. Instead, she found Victor's office door ajar, voices drifting out. She should have walked away, should have respected his privacy. But Maya had never been good at should. Can't keep stalling, Dmitri was saying. We need to move on the Kozlovs before they hit us again. Not until we find the leak, Victor's voice was tired. Every plan we make gets back to them. Every safe house is compromised. We're bleeding information. You think it's Anton, not a question. A statement. I know it's Anton. I just can't prove it. Maya leaned closer, her heart pounding. Anton Yurev, Victor's head enforcer, his oldest friend, the man who'd suggested eliminating her to protect the organization. 20 years of loyalty, Dmitri said quietly. He saved your father's life in Chicago. Trained you himself. What would make him turn? Money.
Fear.
Blackmail. Does it matter?
Victor sounded hollow.
Betrayal is betrayal. But without proof. I need proof that won't get back to him. He's too careful, too smart. He knows I'm watching. Maya heard ice clinking in a glass. Someone pouring a drink. What about the girl? Dmitri asked. She's an outsider. She sees things we don't. Maya?
Victor sounded surprised.
What could she possibly? She has no preconceptions. No loyalties clouding her judgment. Sometimes fresh eyes see what familiar ones miss. Silence stretched. Then Victor. I won't put her in more danger. She's already in danger. Might as well make it mean something. Maya made her decision. She pushed the door open fully, stepping into the office. Both men turned, startled. I can help, Maya said. Victor's expression hardened. You were listening. Your door was open.
Your voices carry.
And yes, I can help. Absolutely not.
Why?
Because I'm just a delivery girl? Maya crossed her arms. I've been here 5 days. I've watched your people come and go. I've noticed things. What things? Dmitri asked, curious despite himself. Maya took a breath. Anton visits every day, right? Always at the same time, always for exactly 1 hour. But 3 days ago, he left after 40 minutes, and he was on his phone the moment he got outside. I saw him from my window. Victor leaned forward. So he got a call that made him leave early. And that night, the same night, the Kozlovs hit your warehouse in Queens. The one you thought was secure. The room went very quiet. Could be coincidence, Dmitri said slowly. Could be, Maya agreed. But that's not all. Yesterday, Anton brought you a financial report, right? About the Brooklyn operations? How do you know that? Victor's eyes narrowed. I was in the garden. The window was open. I heard you discussing it. Maya ignored his disapproving look. He recommended consolidating 3 warehouses into one central location. Said it would be more efficient. Standard optimization, Dmitri said. Or a way to put all your eggs in one basket so the Kozlovs can destroy them in a single hit. Maya pulled out her phone. Victor had reluctantly given her one with restricted access. Can I see a map of those warehouse locations? Victor and Dmitri exchanged glances.
Victor nodded.
Dmitri pulled up a digital map on the office computer. Maya studied it, her delivery driver's knowledge of New York geography kicking in. The central location, he suggested. It's here, right? She pointed. That's 3 blocks from known Kozlov territory. And there's only 2 access roads, both easy to block. If they hit that warehouse, your people would be trapped. Victor stood slowly, moving to look at the map himself. It's tactically vulnerable. It's a trap, Maya said. He's trying to consolidate your resources where the Kozlovs can destroy them all at once. This is speculation, Victor said, but his voice lacked conviction. Then test it, Maya suggested. Give Anton false information. Something valuable that only he knows. If it gets to the Kozlovs, you have your proof. Dmitri's eyes lit up. A canary trap. Feed him a unique piece of intel and see if it flies. Victor walked to the window, hands clasped behind his back. Maya could see the tension in his shoulders, the weight of betrayal crushing down on him. He was my father's best friend, Victor said quietly.
He taught me everything.
How to fight, how to lead, how to survive in this world. And now he's trying to destroy you, Maya said, not unkindly.
People change.
Or maybe they were never who you thought they were. Victor turned to face her. If you're wrong, then you've lost nothing but a little trust. If I'm right, you've saved your organization. Maya held his gaze. You said I'm the only person you know is safe. So trust me. The moment stretched between them, heavy with possibility. Finally, Victor nodded. Dmitri, prepare the trap. We'll feed Anton information about a major shipment coming through Newark, high value, minimal security. Make it too tempting to ignore. And when the Kozlovs show up? Dmitri asked. We'll be waiting. Victor's expression went cold, the vulnerable man from the chess game disappearing behind the mask of a crime lord. With everything we have. He looked at Maya. You were right. You do see things we miss. I pay attention. It's what kept me alive on the streets. It might keep us all alive now. Victor moved closer, and Maya was struck again by the intensity of his presence. Thank you.
Truly.
Don't thank me yet. Thank me when this works. When it works, Victor said, I owe you another debt. When I'm beginning to think I'll never be able to repay. Maya smiled slightly. You could start by letting me have internet access on this phone. Watching gardening shows on the estate TV is killing me. For the first time in days, Victor laughed, a real, genuine sound that transformed his face.
Done.
But Maya? Yeah. Stay away from windows when Anton's here. If he suspects you're helping me, you become an even bigger target. Understood. As Maya left the office, she felt the weight of what she'd just set in motion. If she was right, they'd expose a traitor. If she was wrong, she might cause an innocent man to be killed. But watching Victor's face as he talked about betrayal, Maya knew she was right. Anton Yurev was the ghost in Victor's machine. And ghosts, she'd learned, were most dangerous when you couldn't see them coming. The trap was set for Friday night. A phantom shipment worth $5 million, supposedly arriving at a Newark warehouse with minimal security. Only Anton knew the details: location, time, cargo manifest. Everything designed to be irresistible to the Kozlovs. If Anton was the traitor, they'd come. Maya wasn't supposed to be there. Victor had been explicit. She would stay at the estate with double security while he handled the confrontation. But Maya had spent her whole life being told what she couldn't do, where she couldn't go. She'd stopped listening years ago. She borrowed clothes from one of the estate guards, dark pants, black jacket, boots that actually fit. Slipped out during the shift change when the new guards were still getting briefed. Made it to the service road and called the one person who might help her. This is stupid, Dmitri said, but he let her into his car anyway. If Victor finds out, he'll be furious. I know, Maya buckled in. But I need to see this. I need to know if I'm right, and if you're wrong, if this gets people killed. Then I'll live with that. But I won't sit in a mansion while other people fight battles I help start. Dmitri studied her in the rearview mirror. You're braver than you look, delivery girl.
I'm terrified.
There's a difference. They drove to Newark in silence. The warehouse district was industrial wasteland, abandoned factories, empty lots, the skeleton of old America rusting away. Victor's people were already in position, hidden in shadows on rooftops, in vehicles that looked abandoned but weren't. Dmitri parked 3 blocks away. You stay in the car. Windows up, doors locked. Anything goes wrong, you drive away. Keys are in the ignition. I don't know how to drive. Tonight's a good night to learn. He left her there, disappearing into the darkness. Maya sat in the passenger seat, her heart hammering, wondering if she'd made a terrible mistake. The warehouse was lit by a single floodlight, casting harsh shadows. Victor stood near the entrance, visible and vulnerable, bait for the trap. Anton was beside him, 20 years of loyalty and friendship about to be tested. Maya checked her phone. 11:47 p.m. The shipment was supposedly arriving at midnight. At 11:52, Anton's phone buzzed. Maya saw him check it, saw his expression change. He said something to Victor, gestured toward the far side of the building. Victor nodded, and Anton walked away, toward the shadows, toward a position that would put him behind Victor's men when the Kozlovs arrived. Getting into position to attack from within. Maya's stomach dropped. She'd been right. God, she'd been right. At 11:58, the Kozlovs came. 5 vehicles, at least 20 men, armed with automatic weapons. They surrounded the warehouse with military precision, cutting off escape routes. This wasn't a grab-and-run. This was an execution. The lead vehicle's door opened. A man stepped out, tall, silver-haired, expensive suit. Alexei Kozlov himself. He'd come personally to watch Victor die. Marino. Alexei's voice echoed across the empty lot. I know you're in there. Come out, and maybe I'll make this quick. Victor emerged from the warehouse, hands visible, seemingly unarmed. Alexei. I'd say it's good to see you. But we both know that's a lie. You're supposed to be dead. Disappointed. Only that I have to kill you twice. Alexei raised his hand, and his men lifted their weapons. Any last words? Just one. Victor smiled.
Now.
The night exploded with gunfire. Victor's hidden men opened up from every angle, rooftops, windows, parked cars. The Kozlovs scattered, returning fire, chaos erupting. Alexei dove behind his vehicle, screaming orders. But something was wrong. Maya saw it immediately. Anton wasn't shooting at the Kozlovs. He was aiming at Victor's men, taking them down from behind. 3 men fell before anyone realized the threat was internal. Anton, Victor's voice cut through the gunfire. I gave you every chance. Anton turned, his gun now pointed directly at Victor. Your father was weak. This organization needed new leadership. So you chose the Kozlovs? You chose traitors over family?
I chose survival.
Anton fired. Victor moved, but not fast enough. The bullet caught his side, spinning him around. He went down, clutching his ribs. Maya didn't think, didn't plan, just acted. She was out of the car, running toward the warehouse, screaming Victor's name. Dmitri tried to grab her, but she was already past him, driven by pure instinct. Anton saw her coming, swung his gun toward her. The girl.
Perfect.
This is your fault, you know. You made him soft. He pulled the trigger.
Click.
Empty chamber. Anton's eyes widened. He reached for another magazine, but Maya was already there. She grabbed a piece of rebar from the ground, rusty, heavy, perfect, and swung with everything she had. The metal connected with Anton's wrist. Bones cracked. The gun flew from his hand. Anton lunged at her, but Maya was faster, driven by fear and fury. She delivered food through the worst neighborhoods in New York. She knew how to fight dirty. She went for his eyes, his throat, anywhere vulnerable. Anton was bigger, stronger, trained, but he wasn't expecting a delivery girl to fight like she was possessed. He slammed her against a wall. Pain exploded through her back. But Maya had survived worse. She drove her knee into his gut, then grabbed his collar and headbutted him with everything she had. Anton staggered back, blood pouring from his nose. Then Victor was there. He moved like death itself, wounded but unstoppable. His hand closed around Anton's throat, lifting him off the ground. 20 years, Victor hissed. 20 years of brotherhood. And you sold us for what?
Money?
Fear. Anton choked, clawing at Victor's grip.
They
had leverage. My daughter. You don't have a daughter. My sister's daughter. They threatened. Anton's voice was desperate now, real terror in his eyes. They said they'd kill her if I didn't. You should have come to me. Victor's voice broke slightly. I would have protected her. Protected you both. Instead, you got my people killed. Victor, please. Victor's hand tightened. Anton's face turned purple. His struggles weakened. Don't, Maya said quietly. Don't become what he feared you were. Victor's eyes met hers. She saw the war inside him. Rage against mercy, justice against vengeance. Slowly, he lowered Anton to the ground. You're done, Victor said. Finished. You'll tell me everything, every deal, every secret, every piece of information you sold. Then you'll disappear. If I ever see you again, mercy ends. Police sirens wailed in the distance. The Kozlovs had retreated, Alexei among them. His attack failed. Victor's men secured the perimeter, tending to their wounded. Victor turned to Maya, blood seeping through his shirt. You shouldn't be here. You're welcome, Maya said, then her legs gave out. Victor caught her before she hit the ground, and Maya realized she was crying, deep, shaking sobs of relief and terror and adrenaline crash. I've got you, Victor murmured, holding her steady. You're safe. I've got you. And for the first time since this nightmare began, Maya believed him. The hospital room was too white, too sterile, too quiet after the chaos of the warehouse. Maya woke to find Victor in the chair beside her bed, his left side heavily bandaged, his face drawn with exhaustion. He was staring at nothing, lost in thoughts she couldn't read. "You look terrible," Maya said, her voice rough. Victor's head snapped up. Relief flooded his features. "You're awake," the doctors said. He stopped himself. "How do you feel?" "Like I got thrown against a wall by a trained killer." Maya tried to sit up, wincing. "Which I did. How long was I out?" 18 hours. Concussion, bruised ribs, strained shoulder. Victor's jaw tightened. "You could have died." "So could you. That's twice I've saved your life now. You're getting expensive to know." "Maya, this isn't funny." "I know it's not funny," she met his eyes. "But if I don't joke about it, I'll start thinking about how I hit a man with a metal pipe. How I saw people die. How close we came to." Her voice broke. Victor moved from the chair to the edge of her bed, carefully taking her hand. His touch was warm, solid, real. "You are incredibly brave," he said quietly. "And incredibly stupid. I told you to stay at this state. Since when do I follow orders?" "Never." "That's becoming clear." He looked down at their joined hands. "Anton's talking. Gave us everything. Names, deals, accounts. The Kozlovs had his niece. Threatened to kill her if he didn't cooperate. So, he was trying to save family." Maya felt a strange pang of sympathy. "That doesn't excuse it, but it explains it." Yes, Victor's expression was complicated. "I let him go. Gave him money to disappear, take his niece somewhere safe. Dmitri thinks I'm weak for it. Dmitri's wrong. You're showing the one thing Anton never gave you, mercy." Victor looked at her then, really looked at her, and Maya saw something shifting in his eyes. Something dangerous and warm and terrifying. "The police came," he said, changing the subject. "Ask questions about the warehouse. Anton's confession gave them enough to move on the Kozlovs. They're making arrests, money laundering, racketeering, attempted murder. Alexei and his top people will be in prison by month's end." "And you?" "I made a deal." Victor's smile was bitter. "Full immunity in exchange for testimony. The FBI's been trying to take down the Kozlovs for years. I gave them everything they needed." Maya's eyes widened. "You turned state's evidence against your own world." "It's not my world anymore. Or it won't be." After this, Victor stood, moving to the window. Dawn was breaking over Manhattan, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. "Anton's betrayal taught me something. This life, this empire built on fear and violence, it consumes everything. Everyone. I'm tired of feeding it." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I'm done. I'm dissolving the organization, turning everything legitimate. I have businesses, properties, investments, all legal, all clean. Or they will be. Once I restructure." He turned back to her.
"I'm retiring, Maya."
"From all of it." Maya stared at him. "Victor Marino doesn't retire. Men like you don't just walk away. Men like me usually end up dead or in prison. I'm choosing option 3, a life." His voice softened. "You gave me that chance.
Twice.
Once with your blood, once with your conscience. I don't want to waste it. What about your people? The ones who depend on you. They'll be taken care of. Severance, new positions in legitimate businesses, help transitioning out of this life if they want it." Victor moved back to her bedside. "I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm setting them free. Setting myself free." Maya felt tears prick her eyes. "Because of me. Because of you. Because you reminded me that kindness exists. That not everything has to be a transaction, a power play, a war." He touched her face gently, thumb brushing away a tear. "You gave me a second life. I want to use it to become someone worthy of that gift." The moment stretched between them, heavy with possibility. Maya felt the pull. This dangerous, complicated man who'd turned her life upside down, but was somehow trying to make it right. "What happens now?" she whispered. "Now you recover. Then you decide." Victor's hand dropped back to his side. "You can go back to your apartment, your deliveries, your old life. I'll make sure you're safe. The Kozlovs are finished, and no one else will come after you. You'll be free." Or, or you let me help you build something new. The delivery business you mentioned wanting to start, I have the capital, the connections, the resources. Not as payment. As partnership. As friendship, he paused. As whatever you want it to be. Maya's heart raced.
Victor.
Don't answer now. Heal first. Think about it. Just know that whatever you choose, I respect it. You saved my life twice. The least I can do is give you the freedom to live yours however you want. A nurse entered, interrupting the moment. Victor stepped back, becoming formal again, the crime lord's mask sliding into place. But Maya had seen beneath it, had seen the man trying to crawl out of the monster's skin. And she realized something that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure.
She didn't want to say goodbye to him.
Not yet. Maybe not ever. Victor, she called as he moved toward the door. He turned back. Thank you. For everything. For the chaos and the protection and the second chances. Victor smiled, that real smile she'd only seen a handful of times. Thank you for showing me there's still good in this world. Even in people like me. Then he was gone, leaving Maya alone with her thoughts, her healing body, and the impossible choice ahead. Normal or extraordinary. Safe or significant. The girl she'd been, or the woman she could become. Maya looked out at the sunrise, thinking about delivery routes she'd never ride again, bills she'd never struggle with, a mother who barely remembered her name. And she thought about Victor Marino, ex-crime lord, recovering monster, the most dangerous and somehow most honest man she'd ever met. She had 6 months to decide her future. But deep down, Maya suspected the choice was already made. 6 months later, the seaside cafe in Montauk was everything Maya had dreamed of during her endless delivery shifts. White tables with ocean views, the smell of salt air mixing with fresh coffee, tourists laughing as seagulls stole their fries. She'd bought it 3 months ago with a legitimate business loan co-signed by someone who'd restructured his entire empire to become a real estate developer. The cafe was hers. Really, truly hers. Maya's Bistro and Delivery. Read the hand-painted sign outside. She'd kept the delivery part of the name, a reminder of where she came from, who she'd been before blood and bullets changed everything. The delivery service was thriving. 15 drivers, all former struggling students like she'd been. All paid fair wages with health insurance and actual days off. Maya knew their routes, knew their struggles, made sure they never felt as alone as she once had. Her mother had passed away 2 months ago, peacefully in her sleep, finally free from the confusion that had stolen her mind. Maya had been there, holding her hand, telling her stories about the cafe, even though her mother couldn't understand anymore. It hurt, but it was also a relief. An ending that felt like grace. Maya was arranging pastries in the display case when the black car pulled up. Her heart jumped, old instincts dying hard. But this car was different. A Tesla, not an armored SUV. Elegant, not threatening. The driver's door opened. Victor stepped out. Maya hadn't seen him in person since the hospital. They'd texted occasionally, brief updates, professional boundaries. He'd respected her space, let her build her new life without his shadow looming over it. But she'd thought about him, more than she wanted to admit. He looked different. The expensive suits were gone, replaced by dark jeans and a simple white button-down. His hair was slightly longer, softer. He looked younger somehow, less like a crime lord, more like a man who'd finally learned to breathe. Victor approached the cafe entrance, paused, then came inside like any other customer. "Welcome to Maya's," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "What can I get you?" Victor's lips twitched. "Coffee. Black. And whatever pastry you recommend. The lemon scone is good. Made it this morning." "Then I'll trust your judgment." Maya prepared his order, hyper-aware of his eyes following her movements. When she set the cup and plate before him, their fingers brushed. Electricity sparked between them, still there, that connection forged in blood and chaos. "You built something beautiful," Victor said, looking around the cafe. I'm proud of you. I built it myself. Well, mostly myself. Maya wiped down the counter, needing something to do with her hands. The loan helped. The loan was business. This. He gestured to the warm space, the happy customers, the life she'd created. This is all you. They stood in awkward silence for a moment.
So much had changed.
So much remained unspoken. I saw the news, Maya said finally. The Kozlov convictions. 23 people going to prison.
Justice.
Finally, Victor sipped his coffee. Alexei got 15 years. Won't survive it. He's made too many enemies. But that's not my problem anymore. And you? Really retired. Really retired. I develop affordable housing now. Ironic, isn't it? I spent years taking from people. Now I'm trying to give back. He smiled self-deprecatingly. Dmitri thinks I've lost my mind. He's probably right. Dmitri still works for you? With me. He runs security for my properties. Legitimate security, no guns, no threats, just protecting tenants and investments. Victor's expression softened. Most of my people transitioned out. A few couldn't leave the life. But many did. They're building normal lives, just like you. Maya felt warmth spread through her chest. You really did it. You got out. We both did, Victor held her gaze. You once gave me your blood, Maya. That night in the rain, you saved a dying stranger without asking questions, without expecting anything. That act of pure kindness, it changed everything. Not just my life, but my perspective on what life could be.
Victor.
Let me finish, he stood, moving closer. I've been in darkness so long. I forgot what light looked like. Then you appeared, this stubborn delivery girl who refused my money, fought my protection, saw through all my walls to the man trapped behind them. You gave me a second life. Not just physically, you gave me a second chance at being human. Maya's eyes stung with unshed tears. You did that yourself.
No.
You lit the path. I just finally had the courage to walk it. Victor reached into his pocket, pulling out an envelope. I came here to give you this. It's not payment. You can't pay for what you did. It's completion. Maya opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside was a single document. The title to her cafe's building, fully paid off, transferred into her name. The loan's cleared, Victor said quietly. The building is yours.
No strings, no debts, no obligations.
You're completely free, Maya. Free of me, free of the past, free to build whatever future you want. Victor, I can't. This is too much. It's not enough. It will never be enough, he smiled, and Maya saw peace in his eyes. Real peace. You gave me blood when I was dying. Now, let me give you what you've always deserved, security.
Peace.
A foundation you can build on without fear. Maya looked at the document, then at him, and felt something shift inside her. The fear that had defined their relationship, the power imbalance, the danger, the impossible gulf between their worlds, was gone. They were just two people who'd saved each other in different ways. Stay, Maya said impulsively. Have your coffee. Tell me about your affordable housing projects. I want to hear about the man Victor Marino became. Victor's smile reached his eyes, genuinely happy for perhaps the first time since she'd known him. I'd like that. He sat at the counter, and Maya poured herself coffee, joining him. They talked as the morning sun climbed higher, as customers came and went, as the ocean breeze washed through the open windows carrying salt and possibility. They talked about her business plans, his construction projects, neutral topics that slowly became personal. Laughter came easier than expected. The darkness of their shared past faded into something softer, not forgotten, but transformed into the foundation for something new. This feels normal, Maya said eventually. Strange, isn't it? After everything. Normal is underrated, Victor finished his scone. This was excellent, by the way. You have talent. High praise from a man who probably ate at five-star restaurants every night. I ate alone in mansions, surrounded by people I couldn't trust. This, he gestured between them. This is better than any five-star meal I ever had. As the lunch rush began and Maya needed to return to work, Victor stood to leave. But he paused at the door, turning back. I meant what I said about no obligations, he said.
But Maya?
If you ever want company for coffee, or someone to talk to about business challenges, or just he trailed off, vulnerability showing through, just know I'm here. As a friend, if nothing else. Maya smiled. I'd like that. Friends. Friends, Victor agreed. He walked to his car, and Maya watched him go, not with fear or confusion like before, but with something warmer. Hope, maybe. Or possibility. Victor paused with his car door open, looking back at the cafe, at her, one last time. And Maya waved. It wasn't love.
Not yet.
Maybe it never would be. But it was something genuine, something earned through shared trauma and mutual redemption. She'd given him blood, and he'd given her freedom. The debt was paid. But as Victor drove away and Maya returned to her cafe, to her new life built on ashes of the old one, she realized something profound. Sometimes the best relationships aren't born from passion or romance, but from two broken people choosing to heal in each other's presence. She'd saved a dying stranger and discovered a kindred spirit. He'd survived death and learned to live. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. The sea breeze carried away the last remnants of their violent past, leaving only the promise of peaceful tomorrows. Maya Chin poured another coffee, smiled at her customers, and felt, for the first time in her entire life, completely, wonderfully free.